Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by Dana.
Hey.
We're back discussing Dawson's Creek Season 1. Tonight we're covering episodes 5, 6, and 7. So
Yeah.
I'll roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So something that I thought might be a little fun thing to do is to play the promos for the episodes before we start talking about them.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with playing the first promo and then we'll get into the episode. So here we go.
On the next Dawson's Creek, a hurricane hits Capeside, and no secret will survive the storm.
Would you let me explain?
Go for it. Explain. Purge.
Don't you cry! Guys.
Tell her.
It's getting too dangerous.
Out of the car!
You defend her. You would.
Clarify yourself right now before I rip your head off.
An all-new Dawson's Creek, next Tuesday.
Very dramatic.
Oh, yeah. That was like the hurricane, the drama. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. I kept
So that's
gasping.
actually the title of the episode. It's Hurricane. There's a storm coming to Capeside, so everybody's battening down the hatches, boarding up their windows, their doors. Dawson's father thinks it might be a good idea if he goes and gets Jen and her grandma to come stay with them because the grandfather is like in the hospital again, having tests done.
Yeah.
And the grandmother had a line. She was like, if the Lord sees fit to take my home, then so be it. And Jen's like, oh, I forgot to tell you the Lord facts, something about Armageddon.
Oh my God, I can't. Like the grandma in these episodes, I was like up and down. I'm like, I hate her, I love her, I hate her, I love her, I hate her, I love her. There's just so many good one-liners that I was like, oh hell yeah. Okay. Okay.
Joey thinks it might be a good idea if her, Betsy, and Bodie go to Dawson's. So they make their way over there too. And there's a little bit of tension between Jen's grandmother and them because she's
Of course.
slightly racist.
Yeah, well, that's why it's like, and then she has these ears, and you're like, oh goddamn. It doesn't like Dawson have like the biggest house, like out of all three of them. Like,
Right,
most
yeah.
So yeah, good on them for coming over.
So Dawson's helping board up the house, and in the kitchen with his mom, he says, "Got to get ready for Hurricane Bob," and she's like, "Chris." He's like, "Oh right, Bob's the anchor, Chris is the hurricane," and she kind of
He was
goes,
like,
"Oh boy." Do you think she knew that he knew in that moment, or she was just like, "Ooh, dodged another bullet"?
she figured it out at the end there because Dawson was not like being coy. He was being very obvious
Right.
about like what he's meaning. At least, well, I mean, but I know everything. So I mean, but she's already been warned like
Mhm.
twice, Joey. So
Yes.
it's kind of like she should be on high alert, like for me. So I don't think she should be thinking she's fine, like at any time. So I wrote down like laying it on thick, Dawson, not subtle at all.
Right. And then she has the nerve after that to like call him and be all kissy on the phone. Like you're just trying to get caught at this point. She wasn't even hiding in the closet this time. She was right on the stairwell talking on the phone.
Like Dawson creeps up on her, and he literally goes around somehow through the back of their gigantic house and comes up behind her, and
Mhm.
then like standing, you kind of like stand a little bit off the side, and then she makes the kissy noise into the phone, and
Mhm.
then you hear a creak of him like stepping, and then her face goes full panic. Just
Yeah.
I'm fucked every which way is Sunday. It's over now. I gotta go. Click.
So they always use big SAT words in this show, but sometimes I feel like it's very theatrical. Like now you're just bragging at this point. Like
Right.
he had to set up this whole thing about how she should wear the scarlet letter A on her. I'm just like, okay, calm down.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. An extra dramatic through that whole thing. Like that's why when I first saw stuff, I'm like, 15-year-olds do not talk like this. Like, where's the slang? I was expecting like tons and tons of slang to cut. Not Dawson. Well, not Dawson, Joey, Jen, or Pacey. None of them. Not one teenager in this show just is very low vocabulary. You know what I mean? Like, all well read, very educated.
Meanwhile, Dawson is still kind of being a little distant from Jen after the revelation last week that she was not a virgin. And she's kind of hanging out in his room after he had that confrontation with his mom. And he just doesn't understand how she could do that to his father because they have sex all the time. And Jen's like, these things usually have very little to do with actual sex. Like, and he's like, you would defend her. And she's like, you better explain yourself before I rip your head off. She's like, what are you saying? Because I slept with half of New York.
This is why, oh man, Dawson sucks so much. He really just, again, I'm gonna give him grace because he's obviously not dealing with this well. Like the whole fantasy of his life and fantasy of Ben has been shattered multiple times over. And he's being hurtful and way hurtful. Like, the poor girl has done nothing wrong. It's like,
and of course Joey hears all this because she's hiding in his closet.
It's getting creepy now, Joey. It's creepy now, Joey.
So Pacey is helping his brother, who's a cop, I guess, secure the beachfront properties.
Yeah.
And he's complaining the whole time. And so this is a running thing throughout the series that Pacey picks on him for being gay. And he's like, I'm not gay. And it's like, this is like a running thing.
Yeah. I had the feeling because he would not let it lie at all.
I laughed because he was like, I have a day off today. He's like, I should be at home sleeping in, catching up on my soaps. Like,
he's a huge musical theater fan. Loved all kinds of Broadway.
Yeah, but that was Pacey that said that. I should be catching up on my soaps.
Oh, right. So they both have eclectic taste.
I laughed. I guess it could be slightly offensive, but I just laughed at how Pacey was picking on him. He's like, you're so butch, Becky. And he's like, why? He's like, tell me why you picked a profession that required you to dress like one of the village people.
Well, I kind of get it because of the way his brother ends up behaving later on in the episode. I'm just kind of like, now I understand why you are so like, I'm gonna at him. Like, no breaks.
Yeah.
Just joke after pun after joke after zinger. Like, just not any room. The man can't even walk into his job for a second. But now I get it after the fact of the episode. Sure.
So they end up at Tamara's house, Miss Jacobs. And Pacey doesn't realize that Doug's already like been helping her out, and he's flirty with her. He tries to kiss her, and she's like, no.
They both are.
Yeah.
They're both into her. Like his brother's like, hey, how you doing?
And they end up, I guess the storm picks up, so they end up spending the day inside with her. But something like falls or breaks outside, so Doug goes to check on it, and that's when Pacey tells Samara that he's a closet case. And so this later on when they're playing games, like board games, and they're talking about musical theater and singing, Doug asks her out to dinner, and she's like, well, not like a real date. And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, because I know. And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, that you're gay.
Oh my god!
And Pacey has the best shit-eating grin on his face.
Yeah, of course.
She's like, he didn't tell me. I have gaydar. He's like, she has gaydar. What are you gonna do?
Yep. Oh my god. Yeah, it was getting intense.
Yeah, and then he pulled his gun on Pacey, and he's like, he does this all the time.
Okay, again, like so much inappropriate in one room. Like,
Right.
okay, so not only Casey and Sarah's relationship, super bad, not cool. Like, the relationship between the two brothers is obviously not okay. And for some reason, this cop seems to think it's okay to just whip his gun out on his little brother. Like, literally looking like that. It's like, what is happening? It is not that deep, bro. Oh my God. And that line of like, he does it all the time. It's no big deal. What is happening?
So then
What
he
is
just says,
happening?
"Fine, I lied," and he puts the gun away, and he's like, "Okay, now where were we?" Like,
Yeah,
all
like,
right.
oh, we're good. We're good. Woo.
Um, Pacey, Joey and Jen have like a friendly moment out on the porch
They do. They
where they
do.
discuss
Because
Dawson's dick size. And
feel
Jen's
like
like, "Come
Jen
on, you
is,
must have thought about it." And Joey just kind of smiles, like, "Yeah, I think about his dick." Like,
oh my God. Oh God. Yes, that the way that that whole conversation transitions from what seemed like a genuine moment about feelings right into like Six says, wondering if he's what's the term that she says? Like, what is he like slinging something? I forget what she said. Like, but it was just like, what? Oh my God! How uncomfortable,
Joey's got
awkward.
to think about height and fingers because she's like, judging by that, I'd say he's above average.
Yeah. So you
And
did
Jen's
think
like, "So you
about it
have thought
though,
about it."
right? So it's like they definitely have an understanding. I'd imagine, like if they're making jokes like this,
Yeah,
like Jen kind of understands that Joey has like a kind of thing, something for Dawn, like a
yeah.
little bit. Yeah,
But I almost feel like if Joey would just say it, Jen would back off.
I think so too. Yes, yes and no because I feel like Jen is actually has feelings, has like genuine feelings for Dawson. Because she's like constantly coming back and saying like, "Are you all right? Like, is
Yeah,
everything okay? That I'm not a virgin and I know I lied or whatever." And it's kind of like to me, like if she didn't really about him, that she could walk away, that would
yeah,
never happen. But I think she's just really trying to feel Joey out, like a lot of these times. Like each time they kind of talk about it, she wants to find out where the barrier lies for Joey. Where does it? Where's the line get crossed?
yeah,
And it's just like it doesn't feel though at the same time that she could be completely ignorant of Joey's feelings
right.
because again, they're not very low key about anything.
um, so they're watching the news, and Dawson's father says, "Oh, I hope Bob is okay." And Joey just kind of makes a remark, "I wouldn't worry about Bob." And
Oh,
Dawson's mom kind of like flinches, and she follows Joey out into the hall, and they have another discussion. And
get your boss order.
and she basically says that she's gonna end it. So
Okay.
I thought it was odd that she decided she was gonna tell her husband in front of her son. Like, I get she was like, "We're
Yes,
a family, this falls on all ears," but like that feels more like
agreed.
private, like personal.
Yes, agreed. I think because we knew Dawson knew,
Yeah,
that he also needs to know. I feel like maybe that was more of the catalyst as to why she was going to tell me right then and there because like if Dawson knows that's my kid, like the jig's up now. It's kind of like I
yeah.
can't be known as this person to him. Like I have to come clean. That's what I was thinking. That's my theory on like her moves to do it right then and there.
And
But
again,
still, like,
very theatrical way to tell them. Like she
right,
goes on
like
this whole tangent about how she always wanted to be a Barbara Walters or Diane Sawyer, but now she
I
settled
don't
for like a Jenny
care.
Jones.
What? Who cares, Mitch? I don't care. And yo, Mitch, he every response was like, "What are you talking about? Like
Right.
what are you talking about? Like
And then
get to the point."
her getting to the point was like, "For the past 2 months, for the past 62 days, I've been
Yeah.
with another man, having sex with another man." I was like, "God, that was a like it took you forever just to spit that out."
The worst way to tell someone something like that. It was kind of like those weird like cutaway moments. I think it's like on Family Guy, like where the
Mhm.
doctor says like you have cancer that's benign.
Uh-huh.
That is like have to cut your foot off at the toe. It's always like these moments where you're like, and then they just completely deflate it. Like
Yeah.
that was it. How was she that? It's like each bit just got worse and worse and worse. And to be honest, every part of their conversation from that point forward did perpetually get worse and worse and worse.
Right.
Like each time she talked, she said another horrific thing that no one should ever tell their partner ever.
Right.
Like, well, and you're supposed to be in love with each other?
Yeah.
Like the I was
So
dying.
on cue, the minute she spits this out, the lights go out.
Yes.
So now the husband's like trying to
Alright.
process this, and I guess his brain must be like on overload, and he's just trying to like. So he's like, I gotta get batteries, I gotta do this. Like he's just like trying to like stay busy now. And the minute she starts crying, he like is like, "Don't cry, you don't get to cry." I was like, "Ooh, he's gonna hit her." I felt like he was gonna hit her.
Oh no, I like clapping like through the whole thing. I was like, yes, she does not deserve to cry. It's like not even for a second. And then oh man, then he unloads like full blown
And then the scene in the
explosion.
car where he's like sitting in the car and she goes and gets in, and he tells her
Y'all.
how quick he fell in love with her. Like he decided right there that he was gonna love her, and he's like, and
Yep.
just like that, I decided I don't love you anymore. He's like, I hate you now.
I decided to hate you. That wow. I'm hating you. And he's like, and then he just screams at her to get out of the car.
Yeah,
And it's like
he's like, before I physically remove you from it. Like,
yo. And I'm like, that's right, bitch. Yes, please. That's right. Please. She deserves it because she was playing you, dude. And again, she has no real good response. And everything out of her mouth is bad. And it's like, why are you even saying this? What's the point of saying all this? What, to unload your own conscious, you know? I know it's like trauma transference. Like you don't want to deal with all the crap guilt, so you just have to dump the details of your affair out for everyone to hear, so you feel better.
Yeah.
No. I was concerned when he drove off though, because it was raining. I didn't want him to hurt himself.
Yeah. So Jen's grandmother, like you said, she had like these nice moments, and then you're like, these cringy moments. Like she had cringy moments with Bodhi and Bessie.
Yes.
And then with Dawson, she had like a nice moment.
Yep.
She like gave him good advice. She's like, my husband always said, lots of rain brings a rainbow. And then she's like, from what I've seen from your life, you better get a good umbrella.
Right. And like literally 5 minutes earlier, she was being hella racist. Like,
she's like, from the minute that child's born, it's gonna be marked different. And I'm like, oh my God.
It's like, we're aware. Like, hello. Like, they obviously know the kid's gonna have a bit of a hard time being mixed race. Like that's obvious to everyone in the room. We don't need you to tell us. Right. Oh, wise grandma. Like, come on. Yeah, she was really giving me like just yo-yo effect nonstop. I was just like, God, that's so insightful. Wow, she's a horrific racist. Oh, that's sexist. Wow, that was really good advice. Like, just nonstop.
So Jen and Dawson finally talk it out, and he apologizes for the way he's been acting. And Jen gives us a little bit more insight on her backstory. Apparently, she lost her virginity when she was 12 to an older guy.
He got her drunk, so I kind of constitute it as probably non-consensual in some way.
Yeah, she said she was drinking a lot, she was blacking out a lot, and the reason why she came to Cape Side was because her parents caught her having sex in their bed.
Yo. Oh, yep. Well, yeah, that'll happen if you're on a bender for sure.
It's weird because that what I visualize that type of, I don't want to say type of person because that sounds sex negative, and I want to say sex positive, but somebody that's a little uninhibited, we'll say, like that, doesn't match with the girl that came out of the cab in the flower dress in the pilot. Like,
Right. Well, she said she wants to turn over a new leaf. Like that wasn't who she like that whole line of that's not who I am.
yeah,
But I'm also not the virginal like
yeah,
angel that
yeah,
you brought me up there somewhere between. And like that makes so much sense. I mean, like to be honest, the girl probably was in a lot of situations where things were not okay. And she probably has a lot of unprocessed trauma that like she's probably dealing with, that's probably what her aversion from God and religion is probably a part of that.
mhm.
And it only makes me more mad at Dawson though. And I don't know if I personally don't accept his apology. I know Jen does. I personally don't think it's enough. I think he was super rude to her both times. Like, the
Yeah,
silent treatment, all those comments. And then you find out exactly what actually happened to her. It makes me even more angry because it's like she had nothing. She's a child. She doesn't know what she's doing, just like you don't know what you're doing. So how
right,
do you cast judgment on her just because it has something to do with sex? Get out of
yeah.
here.
She
You
said,
know?
like, after the first pregnancy scare, she got on birth control, she used condoms sometimes, sometimes not,
That's
like,
what I mean. Oh,
like, she's
oh.
been through stuff.
Seriously, she's been through things. That's why when the problems that Dawson's having, Pacey's on another level. He wants to level up his issues. But like the back and forth between Joey, Dawson, all that stuff kind of feels like child's play in a way that what Jen has dealt with probably in her life and the relationships she's dealt with up
Right.
until this point. Like feels like a step above in my mind. Like she's just not above it, but kind of like, oh, these kids, I can't. I'm dealing with children here, guys.
So the storm is over, and Dawson's dad comes home, and his mom is sitting out on the I don't know, the lanai, or I don't know what you call that, the screened-in porch, and he just kind of
Nice
sits
lanai.
down, and he's talking to her, but he's not like looking at her. He has his back to her, and he's like, "Why'd you do it?" And she's like, "I don't have a reason." She's like, "My life was perfect." She's like, "Everything I wanted, I had." And she's like, "And I wanted to want." She's very theatrical again. She's like, "My reason is preposterous. I don't have one." I'm like, "Okay, it's preposterous."
to she wants to want things.
Yeah,
Like that was her reasoning. Like
yeah,
she just had it too good. Oh, this really just like gets under my skin. This whole reasoning. That's what I remember saying like earlier on. I'm like, I don't understand why this is happening. Like I don't understand why she feels the need to cheat on him. They seem happy. Like
yeah.
he seems in love with her. She also seems in love with him.
Mhm.
Why would you not feel the need to step out? So this is like literal champagne dream problems, like first world issues.
Right.
Like underline that 1,000 times. Like first world problems.
Like, your
This
life was
woman
too perfect, you were bored, so you had to shake things up.
like maybe you guys talk about having an open relationship, or I don't know, have a threesome, maybe something that consented by your partner. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know, like you just did whatever you want. Like, that's really the problem with it all. It's kind of like, who cares about sex or cheating? It's like you just went out and behaved however you want, like as if it wasn't going to affect literally anyone else except for you, which is
yeah,
not the case.
right.
She's immature. It's horrific. And I was just like, oh God, like he
I
should leave
think he
her.
was too,
Mitch, leave
'cause he was like, "I don't wanna talk anymore." He's like, "No more talking."
like I'm on Team Mitch. Like I hope he takes her for everything she's worth and divorces her ass.
Um, I think that was pretty much it, right? Pacey kinda circles back to Tamara's, and she, like, pulls him in, and I guess they have sex, because that's what they do.
Just so bad.
But
Basically,
did I forget anything that you wanted to talk about with that?
I think so. I'd have to look at my notes to really. But here's the thing about the show, I think I said this last time when I watched a bunch in a row. I'm getting into the show, so I'm not thinking about the notes that I need to write
Yeah,
down.
right.
Feel no. Well, I do when you bring up the stuff. I remember. Oh yeah, I remember being super mad about all of that stuff.
Were you
Like the
surprised that everything just, like, hit the fan so soon? Like, in 5 episodes?
well, yes, Because I kept thinking like, oh, because the sex tape, when that came right back around, like you see them get recorded, and literally the next episode, everybody knows about it. Like the core group, your core group that you're following knows about the tape. And
Mhm.
I thought for sure that was going to be something that they'd hold back. Same deal with this thing. It's kind of like I had a feeling that the affair was going to be revealed a little bit, but like I didn't know if it was going to be like an end of the season type of thing, or again something that's going to reveal itself later on down the line. That like but this is the first season. They got to get it out, right?
Yeah.
Make it happen. We got to get that renewal, right? So
Yeah.
like it's kind of
We gotta get people talking about it so that more people tune in next week and see what the hell's going on.
exactly. So just yeah, I think we hit everything.
All right.
Um,
So I'm gonna
yeah,
play
it's good.
the promo for the next episode then.
Woo!
On the next Dawson's Creek.
There's this kind of a pacey rumor going around school. Have you heard this?
Yeah, there was one boundary placed on this relationship. You don't talk about it.
My sister's having her baby.
What? Well, it seems your lies have made it all the way up the food chain.
Grim, she is losing a lot of blood. I don't know much about this, but I know what a lot of blood looks like.
There have been allegations of a sexual relationship between yourself and Mr. Witter. Are these allegations true?
An all-new Dawson's Creek. Next Tuesday on the WB.
So yeah, some more stuff kind of came to a head.
More drama. If it couldn't have, like seriously, like I only had 4 lines from this episode. It was jam packed with drama because I got nothing.
Because you got nothing. The fewer the notes, the better the episode.
The notes, the better the episode, because I'm just like, what's happening the whole time.
Yeah, so Pacey's basically just like, he's not bragging, but he's talking about his relationship with Dawson in the men's room at school.
Yeah.
And he checks one stall and sees nobody's in there, but he doesn't check the other one where there's somebody smoking and listening to everything. So like, by the time Dawson like hits the outside of the campus, the whole school knows, because Jen's like, have you heard this rumor?
Like I think they like take one step out of the bath and someone comes up to be like, hey, did you hear that thing? And I was just like, what? Yes, but this should have coming a mile away. I knew this was gonna happen eventually. You can't trust high schoolers with a secret ever.
Yeah. They decided that they're gonna try and play it off as like it's just a rumor.
Which is smart.
But meanwhile, Jen and her grandmother are still kind of have a push and pull when it comes to like religion. Her grandmother's leaving Bibles in her desk.
Well, like Jen put up a calendar, like an art calendar that had a couple nudes on it, and Grandma was not having that. And Jen had probably one of a great line where she just basically says like, "Oh, unless he's like on a crucifix, right, or like the Bible," and she's like.
Right.
Don't you say that's a thing about my precious Jesus, not my Jesus.
Yeah, she said something like some of those art or statues are in some of the best museums in the world. She's like, I don't care where they are. She's like, we don't have naked men in this house. And she said something like, oh yeah, we just pray to them.
Yeah. Oh, way better than what I said. But yeah, she kind of just completely and Grandma clutching the pearls. Every single second Jen opens her mouth.
Right.
And I love it. I think it's so it's this part of the roller coaster ride of loving her and hating her at the same time.
So Bessie's due to give birth in a week, and Bodhi has to go out of town for a job interview at a restaurant, like a fancy restaurant. And of course, while he's out of town, her water breaks. And the closest house is Dawson, but it's not the most convenient to get to. So Joey and her have to row the boat to Dawson to cross the creek. I laugh because this woman's in labor and she takes over rowing and she's like, you row like a girl.
Bessie is giving Joey like the worst business through that whole scene. Like poor Joey's like, God damn it, that's normally just me. I'm the only one in this boat half of the time, and I'm nothing. Like, I got a full-on pregnant woman, and it's like she's dying inside, and like Bessie just was not giving. She's like, oh, And then she's like, "There's a leak in the boat."
And Bessie's like, that's
Like,
not a leak. She's and it's just silence.
oh, poor Joey and poor Bessie. I mean, like, oh, having the worst time of it.
So Dawson offers to record the birth so that Bodhi could see it instead of hearing it secondhand. And
Yeah.
they can't get an ambulance there for like an hour or two because there's like an accident. And they're like, apparently childbirth doesn't like rate on the list. So Bessie gets on the phone and she's like, "Listen, you civil servant."
Yeah, like she's just like, I know I'm not in the price bracket that normally gets service around here, but I need you to get here now.
Right.
Oh my god, poor
She's
woman.
like, one hospital, one doctor. She's like, what did she say? The joys of living in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, right. Like just basically being miles away from literally anything that could help her right now.
Right.
Mm.
So then Joey gets the idea that maybe she should ask Jen's grandmother since she's a retired nurse.
Smart.
And she went on this whole rant. She was like, "I know you don't really like them." She's like, "But if you could remember that all the reasons that you don't like them are not any of this baby's fault." And she's like, "And you can remember that as a nurse you took an oath to help people, that'd be really, really nice."
Yeah. Literally
And
doesn't even get
Grams is just like staring at her like
doesn't even get a to breathe. Joey is like already trying to convince her.
Right.
And the woman's already she's ready to go.
Yeah. I liked when she said to Bessie, she's like, "Let's make a deal." She's like, "I won't take advantage of your postpartum joy to bond with you if you just shut up."
Yes. Yes. She took charge. That's the whole thing. Again, like love and hate affair with this woman is just that she comes into the room. It's filled with a bunch of anxious teens trying to help out this poor woman have a baby, and she just takes charge of the room like immediately, like a boss. And it's like exactly what a registered nurse of many decades experience would do, right?
Yeah.
And I just love how Dawson, go get me blankets. Joey, get me water. Blah, blah, blah. I gotta move her to the chair. Like just like immediately putting everybody in their place to help this woman.
Jen starts to freak out because she thinks that there's a lot of blood, and her grandmother kind of pulls her to the side, and she's like, "How dare you alarm my patient by saying that in front of them?"
I agree. I totally agree because, like, seriously, if like Bessie starts freaking out,
Yeah.
like while she's having this baby, legitimately her and the baby. So like, she wasn't wrong. Jen just needed to chill out a little. Like, give
So
it
the
a
grandmother
chance.
ends up admitting that there's more blood than she'd like, but she needs her to like help and like keep her calm. Joey is kind of freaking out because she's seeing how much pain Bessie's in, and it kind of apparently Bessie looks like her mother, and it's reminding Joey of the pain she was in when she was dying from cancer. So she's kind of freaked out, but Dawson reminds her that she was there for her mother. She was by her side, and now Bessie needs her to be by her side. So that kind of gives her the courage to go back in and hold her hand. And she gives birth to a baby boy.
It's so nice. Yeah, it was a nice, wonderful moment where everybody could come together. You know, and I did like that Dawson kind of took upon himself to kind of like bring Joey back to reality because she had like the 1,000-yard stare like when she was in the room. You a lot of scenes where Joey was kind of like just off, and you could tell she's reliving some trauma right then and there in that room. And when he came back on, he basically called it out like right away. He's like, I understand it's about your mom, like, you know, but Bessie needs you, you know, and that really was true. You know, she did because she was not doing okay. And so Joey came and held her hand. It was so nice. It was very wholesome. Very wholesome.
I think just to rewind a little bit, so we talked about how Dawson and Joey, like the episodes usually open with them watching a movie in his bedroom. And it happened in this episode, but it was like a fake out because you think it's just the two of them, and then it pulls back and Jen's sitting there.
Oh my god! Yeah. Oh, that whole back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. it was really awkward to watch, and then also I really wanted Jen and Joey just end up hanging out. Like, they
Right.
just ditched Dawson.
You wanna go get coffee
Hang
or
out.
something?
Yeah, like, "Oh, since we can't hang out with that loser, let's hang out, you and me." And it's
Yeah.
like, "Yes, be friends. I want you to be best friends."
Right. Yeah, I like that. That's why I wanted to, like, rewind and mention that. Um,
Oh, yeah, that's
so
funny.
Pacey ends up going to Tamara's house to apologize or talk about the rumor that's going around,
Yeah.
and she's pissed.
Oh,
She's like, "The faculty already knows." She's like, "There's probably gonna be a board meeting." And she's like, "And who knows, maybe even the DA will get involved."
right.
And I'm like, "Well,
I
what you did was illegal. Like, you're the adult, you should have
Yes,
known better." Like
exactly. I feel like her concern is at the level it should be. Of course, Pacey's like not understanding the severity of the situation,
Mhm.
typically, because why would he? He's young and dumb. And honestly, it's just like I was like, hallelujah. Like finally the thing that happens that will break them up, keep them apart, please. I beg of
Yeah.
you for at least the next 3 years.
She even says, she's like, "Earlier today you were saying we should do things that other couples do." She's like, "Let's break up."
Yes, yes. Oh my god. I like again, they're like finally, like the only time to like get it together, like to finally bring back down to reality is like realizing that you have to now explain this relationship or whatever it is that people are saying it is to
Mhm.
other adults. Good luck. Mhm.
Yeah. Um, so in a way, I feel like they kinda copped out because she didn't really suffer any consequences. He
No,
basically barged into the meeting and said it was a rumor that he made up, and it was just a fantasy of his, and that she's just
right,
his teacher and there's nothing going on, and that was it.
right.
She got off scot-free.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, like I think he realized it was a big deal because when he went to her at the meeting, her lawyer was like, "No, no, no, I
yeah,
don't
she's
want to
like
talk. We're not talking.
she's like, "You're
Nope,
talking to her through me."
nope."
Yeah,
And he's like, "Oh shit now. Oh,
yeah.
we're in bad now. It was bad."
So he goes to see her again after the almost trial, and, she's leaving town. She already gave her resignation, and she's got her stuff packed, and she's gonna go live with her sister in Rochester.
Peace,
And he's like,
peace.
"Geez."
Bye.
So he, like, wants a
Yes.
goodbye kiss, and okay, they got me because I actually, like, felt, like, emo, and, like, I felt bad that they were breaking up, and I'm like, "No, this is wrong." I was like, "They did it to me again. They did it to me 20 years ago, and they're doing it to me again."
Oh, so listen, it's good writing. It's okay. You're allowed to be in good writing. Like they obviously had chemistry as actors, so like they're doing their job, and that's okay for you to fall into that. I got a little like sad that like they obviously had something between them two. It's totally inappropriate though.
Right,
But
yeah,
I kept saying, get out of here. And then the minute she was like, nah, we can't kiss.
yeah,
Nah.
because she said, "'Cause I don't
That's
think I could handle it." I was like, that's when I was like, "Oh, I felt bad." Like, I was like, "Wait, no, that's not good."
right. No, it's not good. She needs to leave. Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of
They
here.
did
Bye.
hug. They
We
did
got
hug, and she did kiss him on his forehead, and he was
yeah.
just like, "Alright."
Like
But
I was like, I just hope he lets her go. I hope he don't like cling because I would be like,
I can't imagine them living in a more rural area that things are close, and I feel like he just, like, circles back and, like, goes back to her house and, like, stalks her from the beach to, like, see her in through the window, like, one last time. Like, you left and then you came back.
he's 15. I was just thinking 15-year-olds have no like they just like this is a confession time. I have done things like this. Like
I
kind of just
mean, if I'm
linger.
being honest, so have I, but, like
You know what I mean? Maybe just do a block, come back around. Don't tell me nobody's ever done the slow ride, okay? Because we've all done it. That's what this is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's an ex now, so of course you got to do a slow drive by, a lingering look, a longing glance. You know the whole nine.
So yeah, that's the end of tomorrow. I keep wanting to say Tamara. Tamara,
Mhm.
Miss Jacobs.
Oh,
Were you
I
also surprised that that
wow.
wrapped up so quick?
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't. I thought she was again, a lot of stuff you're always expecting it to linger because I know the show is a pretty long run. It was
Mhm.
going on for a while, so there's gotta be some storylines that but again, that like, I know this first season, they don't know what they're doing, don't know what they have to do to so they wanna maybe if it's gonna be a one and done, let's try to maybe wrap up all the loose ends the best way you can, totally makes sense, like, from a plot
Yeah.
writing point, but yes, definitely was surprised. But I have a weird feeling somebody's gonna come back later on in the show just to rear her head, just
Do
to
you?
stir some pot. I wonder. I always think that because, like, sometimes when a cat, when it's too nicely tied up, people
Mhm.
just didn't quite get any trouble. There's no lingering circumstances that they kind of come back around. But again, that's just me speculating. I could be totally wrong.
So, I never really thought about this until you brought it up, the whole sex tape. It never came back around,
Mhm. No, really?
and I
That's
never
so
thought
weird.
about
It
that
was
because I was just like, "Oh, yeah, Pacey has
yeah.
it," but I never, like, thought to, like, think that it could get out still somehow, but it
Well,
didn't.
it was just a plot device, but I guess people just forgot about it because there's other stuff that they got
Yeah.
going on, you know
But
what I
what
mean?
you said would've made sense, well, maybe if they had a full
Mhm.
season, they would've did that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But again, it's kinda like they were it feels like a lot of these storylines, like, as they're playing out, it's kinda like, "Okay, these are the ideas we wanted to do to get people, like, invested into the show,"
Mhm.
and, like, the kind of solution 'cause I don't know, cliffhangers felt like something that wouldn't happen till, like, after season 2. You know, like, I don't remember ever watching a show where there wasn't, like, a complete story arc
Yeah.
until, like, it's well established, it's coming back, it'll be renewed, like, that was the only time it was safe to do a cliffhanger. So, like,
Right.
anything like that was really unheard of. If I but until, like, streamers and all that where cliffhangers were, like, every single episode.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Doc. But but
Um,
yeah.
at the end of the night, Jen's grandmother says to her, "After what you witnessed today, can you really say that you don't believe in a higher power or whatever?" And Jen's
Right.
like, she's like, "I don't know about that." She's like, "But I'm coming around to people."
I love that response. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect. 'Cause, grandma did do the Lord's Prayer, to help Bessie get through
And
her
Jen
worst
did
part
join
of
in,
her
like, she did start saying some of the lines
yeah,
herself.
it's a greater good. It's
Yeah,
that whole thing of, it's all about religion. It was a commentary on religion, and it's like it's the thing that's like you can see the good it brings people. It does bring people hope, faith, and all that stuff, but,
yeah,
she's got to respect Jen's own beliefs. That's
right.
the thing about it.
Did
I was
I,
telling you not to pray. Uh,
did I forget anything that was in your 2 lines that you took? Your 2 notes that you took?
oh, you hit it. I mean, yeah. I just I was like, I hope Jen and Joey hang out. I
Right,
don't want that nothing out of this. Kind of all I want. That's all I keep thinking about. It's like just make Jen and Joey best friends.
right,
Who's Dawson?
right.
Who's Greek is I don't even know. Don't care.
Alright, so I'll play the promo for the 3rd episode.
Oh, this is my favorite by far of the 3.
Tonight on the WB Television Network. A day of detention leads to a game of truth or dare.
Out of all the guys at Cape Side, is Dawson the one you're most attracted to?
You're jealous of me because I got a better sex life than you.
Dawson, this is stupid. You don't have to do this.
I am so sick and tired of you copping this attitude with me.
All I've ever tried to do is be your friend.
Joey, I dare you to kiss on the lips of Dawson Leary.
Tonight, an all-new Dawson's Creek.
So this is, like has always been one of my favorite episodes.
It's a great one.
The It's called Detention, but I always refer to it as, like, the Breakfast Club episode.
Yeah. Come on, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It's Breakfast Club, but in a like 24-minute format, you know?
So the whole crew, our cast members get detention, and we also meet a new character, Abby Morgan. Um,
Uh,
she's a troublemaker and a liar.
yes.
So they all have different reasons for being in detention. Jen has this teacher that has like a stick up his ass that doesn't like her for some reason. And they're talking about euthanasia, and he is just rude to her. And she basically just blurts out her opinion on it. She's like, somebody on their deathbed doesn't want to live. They're like she said something like life's a bitch or something like that. So she got Saturday detention because she said bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, he was spewing again. It's like religious said life is God's greatest gift, and she's just kind of like, but life could be suffering too,
Right.
you know. So
Yeah.
very Jen of her to do.
Joey did a report. I can't remember what it was about, but it basically was like about royalty and having like multiple wives or like concubines. And like these jerk jocks were like thought it was funny that, and they said that they like rule the school and she could be their concubine, and she like punched him, hit him in the balls. So she got detention for basically beating up a football player.
Okay, after that happened, I was like, I love Joey. This is why Joey is my number one forever and always. This will punch out a dude right then and there. I loved it. Absolutely. They deserve everything they got.
Pacey was kind of a dick in this episode. He's like flirting with Jen. He's being really like, I don't know if his like hormones were going crazy and his testosterone was making him act stupid. But he's like picking on Dawson.
Yeah, he's feeling himself, you know.
This whole I have a better sex life than you. You had sex like 3 times with
yes
illegally.
Yes, exactly. First off, I mean, like, let's all be real here, PC. You were following that woman, fucking that woman, okay? But yeah, he was a real ass, specifically to Dawson.
Yeah,
I think for sure.
Apparently, Dawson used to be called Oompa Loompa because he wasn't athletic, and he calls Dawson that, and Dawson takes a basketball and like hits him in the face with it.
Yes, that was a beautiful moment. I did not see that coming at all. For some reason, I did not think Dawson would go down at any time. I didn't think I was ever going to see Dawson fight through this whole series, but when he beamed Pacey in the face with the basketball, like they must have really actually hit like the stunt person or whatever, because that looked very real. Like it looked like it legitimately, like, I believe a broken nose for sure. Oh.
Pacey gets detention too, but we don't find out why till the end, so we'll leave that for the
Oh yeah.
So they're all in detention. Abby, she had like this weird, I guess that's how kids talk, but she this weird like, tell me why you're in here, I'll be your best friend. You want a piece of gum? Like, if you tell me, I'll give you a piece of gum. Like,
she's got that kind of personality that just like wants to aggravate everyone she knows. She just is a shit stirrer. Like she comes in and just stirring it up.
She says like she did ecstasy and like had an orgy in the boys' room, and that's why she's in detention.
I was just like, okay, girl, whatever. I was like, oh, you lie, but okay, because they don't got ecstasy out there.
And she's like, let's play a game, and Pacey's like, pin the tail on the hoe bag.
Oh no, they also clocked her to Jen like immediately as soon as they knew she was coming to detention. Like, oh no, she's the worst. She's the worst.
Right.
Like absolute like, do not like her. Don't talk. You don't know her? I can't believe it.
Yeah. So they end up playing Truth or Dare, and she dares Pacey and Pacey and Jen to make out for 10 seconds. Right. And they've kissed before because they kissed when they were filming Dawson's movie. But this is more sensual, and he kind of looked at Dawson like, yeah, I'm kissing your girl, and what?
Well, they like were getting into it. I think Pacey probably put a little extra spice on it to needle.
Extra spice.
But Jen kind of leaned into it a little bit too. I mean, like they both did. Oh man, that's gotta be the worst. I can't imagine being at that age in high school and watching like my quote unquote significant other making out with someone on a dare.
Yeah.
Crush my life. Crush my life.
And then Pacey dares Joey to make out with Dawson. So they have their first kiss, but like it wasn't natural. It was because they were dared to do it.
It doesn't count. It doesn't count as like their proper kiss, but like it was like so delicate. Like they barely touched lips.
She was so
like
stiff. Her hand was like
oh yes. I guess I don't know if nerves were really playing a factor in there or they were playing it for the camera, but that's all I felt was just these incredibly anxious and just not sure teens kissing for the first time. It's exactly what that kiss was.
Yeah. So then Dawson kind of wants to break the tension. So he like they like sneak out because the librarian is like watching Days of Our Lives, and she has like a week's worth of episodes. So they go to the gym. Pacey and Dawson like decide they're gonna have a rematch because Dawson thinks he could beat Pacey at basketball, and Abby kind of like blurts out that they both have a thing for the same guy. Like she just like says what everybody's thinking. And then she's like, "You guys need to talk. I'm gonna go get a drink." And she like leaves them. Yes.
Finger dates, stirring the pot. That's all she does this episode is just to do all that.
I think this was the scene where she was like, "I don't know why you don't like me. Like I've tried so hard to get you to like me." And and Joey's like, "Whatever, I like you. It's fine."
And also like the whole like, shocked Pikachu face about like when Abby's like, and you guys are like the same guy. It's like you guys knew this literally from the minute you met.
Yeah.
Like I thought Jen clocked Joey's feelings for Dawson from the start, but if Joey's not going to do anything about it, that's not Joey's problem. That's how I always saw this the whole time,
Yeah.
and rightfully so. If Joey, you know what I mean? Joey's not doing anything about this.
And Jen asked her, and she said no. So it's almost like hearing it out loud. It's like, oh, is this real? Like, is she right?
Yeah.
Like,
it just feels like either way feels like they shouldn't either one be shocked. Joey's way too smart to not think that Jen doesn't already know.
Joey even says, "Why do you have to be so nice?" And Jen's like, "I'm sorry." She's like, "I'll try to be more of a wench." And she's like, oh, "Stop apologizing."
Yeah, that's so crazy considering. Okay, so like, where is actually so they're supposed to be up north, and if I guess they're further north than New York City.
So
like,
that doesn't spoil anything, but they mention Boston a lot, and they end up going to college in Boston. So I think they must be in Massachusetts somewhere, or like in the Cape Cod area, maybe.
Because I'm like, why? For me, I always thought New Yorkers were probably like the toughest, sassiest, like zinger type, people that take sarcasm as a language situation. So like, the fact that Jen is just so like ill-equipped to handle Joey's constant sarcastic quips is kind of like weird to me. But if we're talking about Boston, that's a different animal altogether.
Yeah.
So
they realize that they've been gone from the library too long, so they have to like rush back to get there before the librarian comes back. And Dawson ends up being Pacey, but because he got distracted. And they don't make it. The librarian catches them, and she like dumps a card catalog. Do they even still have those on the floor?
The Dewey Decimal System.
And she's like, "They better all be in alphabetical order, or you'll be back here next Saturday."
Yep. They're playing around.
And they all have like this like come to truth moment. Pacey and Dawson make up. They apologize to each other. Joey starts crying because like she's like overwhelmed with like her feelings for Dawson, but she can't say it out loud, and she's like frustrated crying because she won't say it because she's like, if I say it, it'll change everything. And every single person in that room except Dawson knows why she's crying. Every single it's so uncomfortable. Everybody's just like,
I don't understand how Dawson does know. He's just an idiot. He's willfully ignoring it because I'm gonna have a hard time thinking I just know. It's gonna be impossible for that to hold on for too much longer. But like, boy, I felt for her because she really did say, she's like, I say it loud, that means everyone's going to know, and our relationship will change whether you want. Dawson just went through something like this with Jen. It's like when the relationship dynamic changes because of new information that's been entered into it, like he has to process it in some way, and he loves to just ignore or walk away or pretend like it's not there, and that's not going to be good. That's not going to make
Yeah.
Joey feel good either. So I totally get why she wouldn't want to say.
Yeah.
They were convincing at the same time about a lot of different things.
We find out the reason Abby was really in detention was because she had too many tardies.
Right, yeah.
Not because she was in a gangbang.
Yeah. I mean, really, honestly.
And we find out that Pacey was in detention because while he was being bandaged up for his injury, the cheerleaders were all around him, and he got a little excited, and he went into the bathroom to relieve himself, he said. And the coach caught him masturbating, so he got detention.
That is so embarrassing. Like, when Abby's like, the most embarrassing story I've ever heard. And it's like, yes, you are right. That is the most embarrassing story anyone could ever tell. Oh, yeah. So,
And then
like,
I guess the irony of all this is they were there for like 8 hours and they couldn't wait to get out. And then when it was time for them to leave, nobody was moving. They were all just sitting there, like processing everything that happened.
So many confessions happened all at one time.
Right.
And of course, like, Joey still hasn't confessed, really. Even though she did. Like, she did and she didn't, like, a ton of times. Like, it's not like she didn't even confess to Dawson either. She's kind of had moments where she basically said, like, I feel for you in ways you do not feel for me, and we're good now.
Because Dawson was like, "Don't worry, Joe, you'll meet somebody," and she's like, "I already have." Hello.
Yes. You think that means, like, again, like, just shy of saying, Dawson, I love you, or I'm in love with you. He's not gonna hear it. So I'm just gonna end up hating him more and more and more. That's why I will only accept them being together if Joey moves on, and then Dawson, of course, by the minute she moves on, literally the second she accepts someone else's offer of being together, he comes to Jesus moment where he's like, I'm in love with Joey, and then has to watch her be happy with someone else for at least a season before I accept them getting together.
He has to suffer. He needs to feel the pain.
He has to suffer. That's the only way I can accept it, because it's just like Joey this whole season, the entire time from the episode 1, has done nothing but listen to him go on about Jen, go on about this, go on about that, and then he willfully ignores like her actual feelings and how many times she's expressed them to him. And she's always spitting facts. She's never told him anything wrong. She tells him exactly how she feels right then and there each time. She calls things out awkward when they are. He just doesn't listen.
Right.
Joey for president.
I think that was pretty much it. I guess little tidbits. They took copies of their asses and they were like, whose ass is this?
Oh, and Jen was trying to say like she could tell. Well, somebody was saying they could tell. They're like slightly.
And Dawson was like, "What do you mean you could tell?" And he's like, "Cause she's checked it out." And he's like grabbing his ass cheeks.
Oh my gosh, it's absolute insanity.
Yeah, this is a fun episode. I really like this episode. And in a way, there was still drama, but it was kind of like a relief and like a vacation from all the other drama that was going on with the teacher affair and Dawson's parents and
like all the real adult drama was resolved, and now we could just live in the fun kid drama where like the stakes aren't as high. Because like when it came to Pacey and Tamara, it was just kind of like
that
guys are playing with right? And same thing with Bob and I can't remember Dawson's last name, but she's the worst. Gail. Like them two was just kind of like, again, ticking time bomb. Like you're talking about like ruining families or going to prison. Like those are high stakes. like the shit between Joey and Dawson and Jen, that love triangle that I'm sure will go on at the end of time, is not gonna hurt anyone except for their feelings, which is sucky because like the whatever happens in this love triangle will affect them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Did you have any notes that I didn't mention for this episode?
Let me look. Again, episode 7, hardly any notes because I was so involved in the
Yeah.
show, in the episode. It was such a episode. Very well written. I love all the Breakfast Club references. I love that, like, I love the dynamic between all of them. Like, again, it was all confession time. Abby was a perfect pot stirrer for everything. She just came in, dropped grenades, and like bounced out. She didn't even help alphabetize either.
Right. And
Like,
then
she
she was
kind
the
of
one that was like, here, hold on, and she like handed it to the library.
Yeah, she was sly, a very sly one. I'll tell you. I hope she comes back. That'll be fun. Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it was great in one room, one space episode. It was really good.
There was a funny line. They were talking about the cast of the Breakfast Club and how like a lot of them just kind of like aren't doing anything anymore. And Pacey was like, not like about Emilio Estevez. He's like, he did those Ducks movies. I love those movies.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So
I
that
mean,
was a
like,
fun little meta moment.
yeah. Molly Wong, like she just didn't like maintain her it girl factor, and it's just like, actually, I'll have you know, Molly Ringwald makes a comeback. Thank you very much, and she's a lovely actress, and she's a mother in what was
Riverdale.
that, the one with Riverdale? Yeah, that's the one. I like that show. That was. I was like, she makes a comeback. Thank you, James Vanderbeek. Huh? Where you at, bro?
Right.
Right? Exactly. Same thing. Joshua Jackson.
Do you have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
I don't know. I can't wait for the next episode because again, Joey got that much closer to really just straight up saying I love you, Dawson. So I'm kind of excited to see if that picks up again anywhere else. You did say there's only 13 episodes, right?
Yeah, so we watched 7, so we're officially over the midpoint threshold. We have 6 episodes left of the first season.
Yeah, and also with all the wrapping up of these storylines, again, at the halfway point, what could possibly happen from now? Another 7 episodes. I'm wondering if Doug is going to be something we need to worry about a little bit more. Or if there'll be characters. Maybe Pacey will get a girlfriend of his own age.
Maybe.
Like, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, Jen and Dawson hang in there. We shall see. Yeah.
I'm not even going to give you a hint because I don't want to spoil anything. I was going to say something.
Oh gosh, that pause made me think for a second I would get little hints.
No, because I don't want to
Alright.
ruin anything. I want you to just like experience it.
Okay, I will. Oh god. Okay. But I love the music. Again, the music was amazing. Enjoyed every song. I was like, this is my jam.
Yeah, they played "The End of the World as We Know It" during the hurricane episode.
They got me a couple. Something I didn't know, which was surprisingly very. I think I remember most Y2K era. That was my jam. That was the time I was on the radio. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for another edition of Dawson's Creek. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night. Bye.